Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Nioh 3 first impressions video. Very new video on the channel, but we're not going to harp too much on that. We're going to get right into it. So, Nioh 3 was released for me yesterday. It was the 6th of February 2026. A series I do really enjoy. I've enjoyed the first and second one, despite I haven't completed them for various reasons. Nothing to do with the games themselves, just timing and whatnot in itself. So I just want to cover a couple of things, just my first impressions, exactly what it is. My first impressions, I've only seen the trailer and I played the demo. I did complete the demo, not necessarily everything, but I did the two bosses and got up to the point where basically it says you need to purchase the retail version, which is absolutely fine. So I've got a few bullet points, so we're just going to go down them, and I'm just going to give you my insight into it, in case you're on the fence of buying it, or if you have played the demo and you're a bit unsure if it's your kind of a thing. So, but of course, do remember this is entirely my own opinion. You know, take it for however you will. Some games just aren't for some people. So we're going to start with the story. So from what I know, again, I only know from the demo, I only know from the trailers, seems to be a bit of time travel going on. Seems, I'm not entirely, well, I kind of know how it works. It seems to be your character's guardian spirit. I'm not really sure the prerequisite, I guess, to its occurring. Is it a near-death experience? Is it that kind of thing? Have things gone kind of too far and you need to travel back and fix something? You know, I'm not entirely sure how it works. Hopefully it is implemented well and it makes sense story-wise. So far, you know, with the demo, not too much story really happened, at least in my opinion. But I'm very interested to see where it goes and how it develops. I'm very interested, obviously, because it's intriguing. It's a very cool world, I guess. So I'm not entirely sure. I think there's meant to be 3 timelines. Now, in the demo, you only do 2, and you only briefly do one of them. So I'm interested what the potential 3rd timeline will be, and how often you kind of go back and forth. Is it a case you can switch on the fly? Is it a case of it's purely progression story and you just go to the different sections at different points? And obviously, as always, you've got a bunch of yokai, a bunch of soldiers turning into yokai and whatnot to gain more power. It's all with the Amrita. I'm probably butchering half of these pronunciations. Just wait till I do some other videos on Nioh 3. Then they'll really test my speech. But yeah, you've got all your yokai. They're very cool indeed. We'll cover kind of a bit of the gameplay alongside this now as well. So, you know, gameplay wise, it's very smooth. I mean, that's what a lot of people have said. A lot of people's reviews, it's a lot smoother than the others. Not saying the others were bad at all, but of course it's a newer game. It is a newer game. They've had time to refine things. It's the 3rd game in the series. It's very smooth. It's very cool. Combat is it's fluid as anything. It feels fair. It feels like, yeah, like you can dish out the damage. You know, Nioh's, I find, is a patient game. It's not like Dark Souls in as much as, I don't know, you can just roll around, hit, backstab, all that stuff. Especially in boss fights, you feel like you really have to be patient. Really got to wait for those openings, because you don't do a mega amount of damage. I'm sure there are ways to do it. I'm sure later on in the game, when you start getting your spells, your magic, and certain things upgraded, I'm sure you can start dishing out the damage then. But in the demo, initially, it's one doing a lot of damage, which comes to the kind of the first boss. First boss, what a roadblock that was. I don't know how long it took me. It probably easily 10 tries. But and I was like, I just don't have enough elixirs at this point. Just do not have enough elixirs. But eventually I did get it. Obviously, each time I got closer and closer. That's just how it works. I was learning the attack patterns, what I could punish, what I could not. I think with him initially, I had to play very safe, very passive, proper wait for those openings. I knew I could just get a hit in, and that was the case. I had to just calm myself down and get one hit in. You know, my big thing was just trying to drain his stamina as fast as possible. More like I was using the Adachi, so it has a move where you can do a light attack into a heavy attack, and it'll hit him with the butt of the handle, and it'll do a nice amount of stamina damage, or in this game, ki damage. And of course, when that's depleted, a human enemy will, you know, they'll get kind of staggered, and you can do a I don't know what the attack is called, but basically, you get like a free hit, essentially, a special attack. I guess kind of how you'd imagine a riposte or something. But no, yeah, that was definitely the first roadblock. And then I heard bits and bobs about the what's the word, about the final boss of the demo, and I was like, oh dear, I want to push through and fight it to really get to know, do I want this game, or am I just going to be, oh no, it's too difficult. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I think that took me maybe what five tries maybe. I feel I got quite lucky. I mean, the times I died very early, and sometimes you just know it's like, oh no, I'm not going to do this. I kind of sack it and restart. It was a very cool boss. I tell you what, the intro kind of cinematic for them appearing, I was terrified. I was like, oh no, you're gonna give me some trouble. I can't even remember its name, but yeah, it was it had the intimidation factor, which I do like. I do like when I'm playing a game. Boss comes in and you're like, oh no, you're gonna give me some trouble. Even if they don't, maybe it can be a bit underwhelming because you kind of hyped them up a bit. But I was worried. I was very worried. But it went a lot better than I thought. And I was just like, mate, that was amazing. I love seeing all the different yokai designs. I love seeing the human enemies as well, to be honest. The humans alongside the yokai. I do enjoy seeing that. It makes it, I don't know, feel like, I guess, the world is ending, so to speak, and you just fight against these demons and whatnot. It's almost like a conscious choice to a degree, whether they've been manipulated, like the Hyrax, whether they've been manipulated or not. Obviously, people shoving Amrita inside themselves, whether it's by choice or not. It is very cool. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the story and the gameplay in itself. I am very much intrigued and hooked. The gameplay is obviously why you stay, in my opinion. I don't know how the rest of the story's going to go, and again, because I didn't complete Nioh 1 and Nioh 2, I don't really know how well their stories were. Because if you do liken it to Dark Souls, which I'm sure a lot of people will, the main enjoyment comes from the gameplay. We can all agree on that, because obviously the story is can be quite simple, so to speak, but all the lore and everything around it can be quite difficult to find. You got to go through all the items, then it really makes you think. You know what I mean? And some people are just like, oh, I can't be bothered with that, which is fair enough. Some people just want to play a game and everything's right there for you. So let's move on to me second bullet point. I think the changes. What changes have been made? Well, the biggest one I would say is that it's a bit more open world now. So whereas in Nioh 1 and 2, I'm going to talk more on 2 because I know that one's slightly better. You would go do a level, essentially, I guess the first main level, go through a chunk of it, finish it, lovely stuff. You got your world map menu, and you can go and do some side missions in the same area, which would just be like little sections of it, and then you can actually continue with the main quest, which would usually go to like maybe a different place in that region, and then of course you go to a new region later on. Well, this one, at least initially, it's far more open world. You go here, there, and everywhere. I think you get your side quests while you're out, kind of exploring this this area, this region, and I think you just essentially just progress towards the end, and then that'll be your more main mission. I think that is how it's structured. It is structured, I should say. At least that's how it was in the demo. So I think it'd be very similar to that going forward. Not going to be like a fully, well, as far as I'm aware, it's not going to be a fully open world game like the likes of, let's say, Skyrim, where it is just all open world. But, so yeah, that is a very big difference. And I think initially when I heard about it, I wasn't too sure. I wasn't too sure how it was going to do or if I was going to like it, but it's fine. So far, it's absolutely fine. You've got different things going on the map. You've got like enemy strongholds. I thought they were really cool. You've got, like I said, you've got side quests that pop up. You've got the scampuses that pop up and they can lead you to stuff, which is really nice. Yeah, you got a few different bits and bobs. There's a few other, I forget its name, but there's a kind of a balloon ferret looking thing which you can shoot down, and that'll give you some good stuff. So I really like that. In terms of the samurai locks and the ninja locks, I believe before they were a consumable. You had to pop them to get the skill point. This one, it just seems like you just get them automatically. You get a samurai point or a samurai lock, the point immediately gets added. Very small change, I think. Not a bad one, because I'm not going to lie, those samurai locks and ninja locks stayed in my inventory. On that, I'm one of those, oh, maybe I'll need it later, maybe I'll need it later. Probably the biggest change, well, not the biggest one, let's say. I guess another one, probably on the same level of the open world. It kind of goes into my next bullet point of the combat style. So, whereas before you could have two weapons and you switch between them and go from there, this one you've got your samurai mode and ninja mode, which is very cool and very new. So, what that means is, whatever your trigger is, I'm playing on my PC. I use a PlayStation controller. Bullets done by... Is it done by PlayStation controls? I'm not sure. Basically, I use the right trigger. And I've changed the mode to... So you have to hold it down and then you'll switch your styles. So you literally switch styles on the fly. I wonder if there's going to be like a story reason for that, if it's going to bring it up, but if it's just purely gameplay and you just don't think too much of it. Because your attire changes, everything changes, pretty much. Well, no, it does all change. So, Samurai mode, as you probably guess, you can have your heavier armor. You're a bit more, say, combat focus. You can use specific weapons, your swords, your adachi, your switchglaive, your spear, I believe, your heavy axes, all that kind of stuff. That's all in your samurai side. And all the equipment now has an icon. So, it can only be equipped by the samurai side or the ninja side. So that's kind of cool because it's not like, oh, do I put this on my ninja or my samurai? Well, it doesn't matter because they can only go on a certain one. So that is it's an interesting one because I feel like I'm going to go far more samurai, but there will be times. Obviously, the whole point is it's there to be used, absolutely. And I have switched to the ninja mode a few times because there's some enemies. There were some flying enemies in the earlier portion, which obviously would fly around, and it was a lot harder to hit my samurai mode. I feel a bit slower and whatnot. But go to the ninja mode, I get right up in them, I jump, and I just wail on them. And I think that is different. I'm not sure if you could jump in the earlier games. I don't think you could, because they have changed a few of the controls. So your interact button is now like the right bumper. It's R1 for me. That was very different. That was something to get used to. Dodge is now circle, which I think before it was the X, it was the cross. I think it was. And now that one's jump, basically. So I'm pretty sure the jump itself is a new feature. I could be completely wrong. I apologize if I am. But no, it is a very interesting thing. So of course with the samurai style, you've got your stances still. So you got your high stance, your middle stance, and then your low stance. Obviously you can do all your combos with your moves, all that lovely stuff. In ninja mode, you don't have that, or at least not that I could see. You have a tool belt, essentially. So you have your shurikens there. You start off with the shurikens and some kind of firebomb kind of magic you can shoot forward. So I'm really looking forward to expanding that, because there's been a couple of times I've been fighting, obviously, enemies, let's say generally on the tougher side, and they've got, I've got a bit battered, they've got a bit battered, they've got a little bit of health left. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to switch to ninja mode. I'm chuck some shurikens at it. Does it feel a bit cheap, potentially? Is it all part of the game? Absolutely is. I'm being smart. You know what I mean? Just, let's not make things more difficult. So I'm excited to see what other contraptions I can get later on. I think you do only have the 4 slots. There might be something you can do to upgrade it later on. I'm not entirely sure. The other kind of change. Sorry, I tried to section this a bit better, but we're going a bit back and forth. Maybe I should have written a script, but we're going more off the fly. Another good change, though, which I quite like, is the cores. The cores you could get from yokai enemies. Now, in Nioh 2, you could add them to your guardian spirits, and they would add certain things. And then I think you could have like a second slot, which would add less, or like a certain section of all these different buffs and stat changes, let's say. This one is different, so they're not added to your guardian spirit. You do it at the shrine. I forget what the section is called, but basically you got a yin and a yang. So in one of the sections, I forget which is which. In one of the sections, it gives you the top effect, which is essentially summoning whatever creature you got. So I defeated Mizuki, and I managed to summon that. That's pretty cool. It summons in, doesn't attack, goes away. On the other side, they give the other effect, which at the moment they seems to be given talismans of buffs. So one I've got increases my power, others increase like coin gain, one increase like lifesteal, that kind of thing. So that's really cool. So not tied to your guardian spirit, you just kind of add them as long as you've got. Well, you have to unlock them because you got like crucibles. Crucibles is a big thing in this. Seems to be, I'm trying to think what it is, what to liken it to. I guess before it was where you'd have a section. Yoko would spawn, you kill them, you wait a minute, second kind of wave spawns, third wave spawns, however many. You just got to defeat all that. Then you can destroy this crucible, and then that kind of stuff seems to um, unlock the cores, so you can use the different powers or use them to the full extent. I think maybe. So I do really like that change. That's really cool. In terms of things like Guardian Spirits, I love seeing what new Guardian Spirits they have. Again, they are separate. So some are only for Samurai, some are only for Ninja. Again, really cool. More likely to use different ones, because some I will probably just gravitate to, because they've just got some good buffs or good effects. But I do like to use different ones, ideally, because you get to see how they all work, and, it feels a bit more interactive, like, you're getting the most out of the game then. But some, I look at the boss, I'm just like, yeah, well, that's just good for me right now, and probably will be for the rest of it. I think as soon as I get someone with like lightning damage or something, I'm going to be all over it because I love me lightning. You still have your Nioh magic and whatnot. I haven't encountered too much of it just yet, but again, it was only the demo. I think the demo took me about 6 hours to do, so I had a good little play. It was really fun. But Nioh magic, I do really like. I've liked in the past games. Let's say I like getting like the rejuvenation talisman because it helps when you got like a little bit missing, but you want to save your elixirs. Just top yourself off. I like imbuing my weapons with buffs like fire or electric. I find those are my favorite ones. And then like paralysis talisman. I think like the sloth talisman, that was really powerful in some of the earlier ones because it just slows down your opponent, and it's great. I always use them on the Raven Tengus in especially Nioh 2. Again, that's the one I know a bit better because oh my god, the Raven Tengus. Oh, I haven't encountered them yet, but I have no doubt they will be there. There have been new yokais, which is very cool, and I'll tell you, one of them, I was like, oh no, it was massive, and I'm like, is this one of those cases where you start off and it's like, it's got this tough enemy right away and you got to kind of come back to it later? I ended up going after it, and it was nowhere near as bad. It was still a bit of a fight, but it was nowhere near as bad, but I did get the jump on it. I managed to crouch, sneak up behind it, get like the backstab attack, the sneak attack, and I just wailed on it. But it was very cool because it just got some really cool designs. It looks great to me as well. It looks great. It keeps very, very much the similar aesthetic of the other ones, but it does look, to me, it looks crisper, it looks cleaner. You're not having anything like, I guess Resident Evil 9 is coming out soon. It looks nothing like that, like the more realistic side. But I mean, it works for me. Absolutely, it works for me. You don't need to have top of the range kind of graphics and seeing all the sweat come off necessarily for it to be a good game. There's plenty of good games without that. So, would I say it's worth it? Yes, I would. Especially if you've played the other two and you like them. That's when I'd say it's worth it. I've already bought it. At the moment, I'm currently downloading it and keeping an eye on it because I want to create, do a bit of gameplay as something to watch while I'm speaking. Something to try and keep you entertained if my voice doesn't. So I would say it's worth it. Especially if you can pick it up on sale. Obviously, I know it's just come out, probably won't go on sale for a little while. But if you have enjoyed the other ones, I'd say it's a must. Well, I'd say it's a must buy. I'd say it's something you will probably enjoy. If you're brand new to it, it's your first one in the series. From my experience with the first and the second, yes, they do kind of roll on and whatnot to a degree. I think part of me thinks I kind of stand alone. Like, obviously, I'm going to go into this. I do want to complete it. I don't think I'm going to really be missing out on stuff, to be honest. And it does have the whole like glossary section where you can read the tale of Nioh 1, read the tale of Nioh 2. Quite early on, I think you can do that as well if you want to just, get up to speed. And there's lots to it. There's lots always helping you. You can read a bunch of stuff, all your tutorials, or just the characters. You can go back to rewatch cutscenes and whatnot if you just want that refresher. Because it might be a case you play it, you put it down for a while, come back, oh, where did I end up? I normally do that and end up starting again. And I'm like, well, I've already put in, let's say, 10 plus hours on this file. I'm going to have to at least do that again. So I would say it's worth it. I'm very much looking forward to playing it, playing some more of it. It's very fun. Yeah, what more can I say? Again, this is just my own opinion. You could think it's absolutely dog, it's not good. You could absolutely think that. But well, at the end of the day, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I'm just giving you mine from playing the demo, from watching the trailer. In case you're on the fence, again, it is brand new. You might be like, it's a bit of an investment. It is £65. It's a bit of an investment. I mean, everything's expensive now anyway. A lot of games are. So you really want to make sure you're getting your money's worth. Obviously, if you buy it on Steam, give it about an hour and a half try. You can always get it refunded. That's always a great thing about Steam in general. But I think it's worth it. And I think you get right into the gameplay pretty quickly as well, in all fairness. There's not massive amounts of cutscenes at the beginning. And if you're that worried, if you're really worried about, are you going to like it, maybe skip the cutscenes until you feel like, oh, mate, I like this, and rewatch them later, or start them again, you know? Another thing, sorry, kind of ending. Another thing I like is that with character creation, I love creating your own character. I created a bloke. I made him muscled as anything because it's absolutely beautiful. So I do like that. And you can also, one feature I love is that you can hide your headgear. So also you can wear your headgear, get all the bonuses from it, but you can hide it. You have the option to hide it all the time, which I'm doing, or you can hide it just in the cutscenes. I love that feature in games. I wish more would do it. Sometimes it looks really cool having a helmet, but I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'm wearing a pretty silly looking helmet, and I'm just like, it just doesn't work right now. I want to see your lovely hair, my friend. Lovely hair. But anyway, that will probably do it. That's my Nioh 3 first impressions. I didn't want to spoil too much. Everything I've said is what I know from the demo and the trailer, so hopefully readily enough available. I don't know nearly enough about the story to spoil that. I'm more going over what's changed with the how it's played, the combat styles, and whatnot. Again, I don't really know loads, but I know enough to know it's something I want to play, and it's something I will enjoy. So, there we go. I will love you, and I will leave you, and I will catch you all very soon in the next one with whatever I do. I'm sure I'll do some more Nioh 3 things, but if you want, check out some of my other videos. But for now, I will leave you.